role of strategic communication and in strengthening governance, driving socio-economic progress, and enhancing national cohesion. At the Nigerian Communications Commission, we share this vision and remain committed to building a robust, inclusive, and secure digital ecosystem that not only drives Nigeria's socio-economic development, but also enhances the nation's global brand and competitiveness. In furtherance of this, the Commission has operationalized key initiatives such as the Critical National Information Infrastructure CNII Order 2024, aimed at securing Nigeria's digital assets and ensuring resilience in our information system to support national development. Thus, these efforts are anchored on 3 pillars, including collaboration with stakeholders, including public relations professionals, to combat misinformation, promote media literacy, and sustain constructive national discourse. We are also strengthening the resilience of Nigeria's telecommunications infrastructure through regulatory frameworks and partnerships. Additionally, the Commission is championing the expansion of broadband penetration to underserved communities, thereby enabling access to education, healthcare, economic opportunities, and information. As professionals dedicated to managing relationships and shaping public perception, members of the NIPR are indispensable partners in this journey. We consequently invite you to continue working with us to promote awareness about the importance of collectively protecting our critical national information infrastructure against vandalism, theft, and other destructive activities. Your support is also important to promoting digital literacy and responsible online engagement while amplifying the voices of underserved communities through inclusive communication. We also urge you that you support our other campaigns on cybersecurity and digital innovation. On this historic occasion, I commend the FCT chapter of NIPR for its contribution to professional excellence and national development over the past 35 years. The NCC looks forward to deepening collaboration with the Institute to build a Nigeria where communication drives unity, trust, and progress. Congratulations on this remarkable milestone. I wish you a successful AGM and many more years of impactful service. Dr. Aminu Meida, IVIS Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for her. I would also like to invite Dr. Elvis Abuyero to please come on the podium to deliver a short remark. He's the CEO of Skywise Nigeria Limited. Thank you very much. 1 minute, please.
All right, good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Zamfara State, Alhaji Dr. Dauda Lawan, the Chairman, Planning Committee, distinguished guests, top government officials, gentlemen of the press, and ladies and gentlemen. I stand before you as a young Nigerian, someone who believes so much in this great country, and I've invested in this country, I've advocated for this country all over the world where I've been to, and I believe that the greatest of us is in our human strength are the young people. As a young Nigerian, I started my journey very, very early in life, went through school, and my background was banking, and established the Skywise Group that have been able to inspire and transform businesses across FCT and beyond. I've been able also to inspire young people. I believe today my assignment is speaking to the young people of Nigeria. We are the strength of this great country. By research, we have come to realize that for us to build a nation, to build a Nigeria that the whole world will celebrate, we have been able at the Skywise Foundation to establish the Skywise Empowerment Initiative, where we believe that the future of Africa, the future of Nigeria is entrepreneurship. We are advocating and believing that every young person, especially the NYC student coming out from school, to believe in themselves. Don't just believe that, Nigeria is not working. Like the speaker or the chairman said earlier on, if you see what is happening right now, when you believe in Nigeria, every young Nigerians that leave this country to any part of the world today, they are excelling and doing well. The reason is simple, because they have a mindset that, it's better in UK, it's better in Germany, it's better in Sierra Leone, and so on, without knowing the fact that Nigeria is the best country in the world. And I'm not saying it because I am in Nigeria. I'm saying because I've been able to travel to Asia, Europe, and the rest of the world. And I've seen that this country is the best of its best. And it is your responsibility of you and I to ensure that we unveil the resources within us. I understand the topic before us is leadership inclusive for national development and rebranding. And I say to myself that the rebranding there is our mindset. We need to cultivate a mindset that will be able to, for the rest of the world, to see us as young people who are vibrant and believe in this great country. Don't believe that it's not working, that the issues of this country is leadership. The truth be told, the issue of this country is ours. And that's why I tell people that radical national economic transformation is no longer what we demand from the government anymore, but what we demand from ourselves as a great citizen of this country. And you will also agree with me that we must get it right in this country. We must, as a matter of necessity, invest in entrepreneurship. Because the wealth of a nation is not measured by the money in circulation, but by the goods and services produced in that nation. If you are coming out with the right mindset and believe in yourself and believe that Nigeria will work, definitely work for you. And I close with this quote by Sam Adeyemi. Said, those who are driven by vision will be more successful than those who are driven by survival. I encourage you, young person out there today, to be more driven by vision than survival. Thank you.
Please give him a resounding round of applause. Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring up our keynote speaker, and I want to request, for a special reason, she's been here from early morning. She sat down quietly and listened to everybody. Before I read her citation, please rise and give a standing ovation to this woman of excellence, Honorable Justice Amina Adamu Augi, GSC, retired, to come up stage to stand here for her citation, ma'am. Here, ma'am. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before you is the keynote speaker of the NIPR FCT Chapter 35th Anniversary AGM opening ceremony. We proudly recognize this woman of excellence, a distinguished jurist, revered scholar, an exemplary public servant. Her illustrious career on the bench, culminating in her meritorious service at the Supreme Court of Nigeria, stands as a testament to her unwavering commitment to justice, integrity, and nation building. As Pro-Chancellor of Wigwe University, she is also a leading voice in national discourse. Justice Augi embodies excellence, courage, and transformative leadership. Her contributions continue to inspire generations of professionals across law, governance, and public service. It is, therefore, with great honor that we welcome her as keynote speaker at the NIPR FCT Chapter 35th Anniversary Annual General Meeting opening ceremony to speak on the topic, Leadership for Inclusive Development and Nation Building. Please welcome Honorable Justice Amina Adamu Augi, GSC, retired. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. The protocol list is so long, and like the chairman said, we're not supposed to say all protocol observed, so I'll just say distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm simply overwhelmed. I didn't expect to see the caliber of participants that I was going to meet today, and so I really don't even know what, but I'll do my best, as they say, and leave the rest to God. Now, it's really an honor for me to be here, because when you talk about 35 years, for you to be able to gather all the people you gathered here, we're talking about reputation. Obviously, you must have built a very, very, very strong reputation that was able to pull people. I mean, you can see the senator and the honorable member waited all this time, but they had to rush back to go back to their work and all. But for them to actually leave, to be able to come here, and all of you, distinguished guests, to be able to come here, it means that the FCT branch, or the NIPR itself, has really, really done an excellent job to be able to get here. Now, we were talking about, I was listening. Earlier when I came, I was in the holding room waiting for it to start. I was talking to Hajia Fatima Abaji, and I asked, what is the membership strength? And she said 3,000 or so. And I said, you mean nationwide? She says, no, FCT chapter. I said, FCT chapter 3,000? She said, yes. Then we listened to the chairman of the chapter talk about FCT being the best and all that, because of course they have everybody, all the tribes and tongues represented. So it reminded me of, if you follow the election time, where they said for president, anybody to become president, you must win 25% votes in the FCT. Now, if that argument had been upheld by the court, just tell me what FCT chapter of NIPR would say. They would, as far as they're concerned, they don't even need the chapter, the whole institute itself. They would have now become a superpower. The president talked about his aides conspiring against him to keep him late for 1 hour. In this particular case, if the FCT chapter of NIPR had such awesome powers or such, accepted, they wouldn't even give him 1 hour. In fact, they wouldn't even tell him to come at all because they wouldn't need him. So that is how well the FCT has done, but thank God you're still within range, that you must work with other chapters of NIPR, and we are so glad to have the we're so glad to have the president here. He did an excellent job of doing my job for me, because if you noticed, everybody left it to me. They're supposed to talk about something. They say, oh, the keynote speaker will do it. They're supposed to do that, but he did an excellent job of laying the foundation for me. Now, I was a lecturer for years, before let me boast, I worked for the federal government non-stop for 45 years. Beginning to end. That lady Bako, my brother, we did NYSC together in Sokoto, so I've been with him long time. From 1978 to 1979, we were the 5th set of NYSC. And I remember at that point in time, when we go to Sokoto, the governor actually had a cocktail party to welcome all of us there. So, then I met my husband there, got married, and I never left. So I'm a fruit of the NYSC togetherness, as we call it. Now, as I said, I was a lecturer for years before I went on the bench, and I stayed 35 years on the bench. So what we do, even in academics and even on the bench, is that you don't leave topics floating. You have to know what you're talking about. If I come here, anybody, if you ask 1 million people to talk about this theme and this topic, 1 million people will have different things to say. So to put things in parameter, that before you're able to speak is, what are we even talking about? Some may understand. I can see young people, see NYSC, see young students. Some may understand. But even in all my years, even as I wrote my last judgment, there are words that you use that you just have to go to thesaurus to check, is it actually the right word? Something like book, did you use it in the right sense? Did you use it in that word? So we need to know. I'm not going to give a lecture. I'm just basically going to explain what the theme, what those words mean. Leadership, inclusive development, nation branding, for us to understand where we are coming from. The theme, if I explain it, we are like the president and other people have spoken. We are in what they call depth of despair. You know, it's a depth of despair. The whole place is like, and it's not just Nigeria. If you follow the news all over the world, it's as if there's a darkness that has enveloped everywhere, that we are all under some cloud that we don't know how we are going to get out of. But it's the same way that COVID came. COVID came like a thief in the night. We woke up one day, and that was it. The whole world had changed overnight. And then with the same thing, within how long, it had gone again. So I want to believe that this, your theme, leadership for inclusive development and nation brand, is really, really right apt. It is actually, it just sort of hits the nail on the head. That's something we need to talk about to be able to see how do we find the light and the dark tunnel. We are in a dark tunnel. Can we see the light at the end of it? Is it going to take us anywhere? Are we going to, as they call it, build from the ashes of yesterday and carve out hopes from the seeming mountain of despair? Somebody here had earlier spoken about hope as well. So leadership, what is leadership? Leadership is simply the ability of an individual, group, or organization to influence or guide other individuals, teams, or organizations. Simply put, it has been defined as, and I quote this, a process of social influence by which a person can enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of common and ethical tasks. This is by M. Guembas, for those of you who want to know who said so. In other words, leadership is an influential power relationship in which the power of one party, that is the leader, promotes movement and change in others, that is the followers. We talk about inclusive development. What is inclusive development? It refers to economic and social progress that benefits all segments of society, particularly marginalized groups, like the senator was talking about. It goes beyond growth numbers to focus, one, equity and fairness. Inclusive development goes beyond growth numbers to focus on equity and fairness, access to opportunities, social protection, and participation in decision making. Participation has to be widespread. We talk of democracy, people, power, that's of the people, for the people, by the people. Now, if all the people are not having an equal share in participation, what are we talking about? If one set of people are able to look at things from this direction, we can't see from the back of our head. So if somebody has tunnel vision and can only see from this, how is he able to speak for 99% of the rest of the country? So that is what you call, if you talk about inclusive development, it must include participation in decision making by all stakeholders. Now, the goal of inclusive development is to ensure that development outcomes are shared widely, so that no group is left behind. Everybody becomes part of it. If we talk about this particular, I'll just say this here before I go on to add in anything. If we talk about, inclusive, I would look at it as a situation of, we're always talking about sharing national cake. How do you share national cake? Nobody is talking about who baked that cake, what goes into baking that cake, who brought the ingredients, who put up the kitchen, who did everything, where did we get all the ingredients? If we talk about making a pot of soup for all of us to share, who provided the kitchen, like I said, the pots, the pans, who grew the tomato, where was the onion found? How did we get it? Where are the transporters? Who did what to be able to put it? Who bought the Maggi? Who put it there? If we talk about, okay, I have asthma, I can't stay in the kitchen, I can't start the kitchen, what can you do to aid in that? You could have been the one to go provide the car or anything like that. Well, that is what we're saying if we talk about inclusive in terms of what are we all doing. Now, the role of leadership in inclusive development, I'll just call it out. The first one, the role of leadership in inclusive development, visionary and transformational leadership. You must have a visionary and transformational leadership. We can't just have leaders that have, it's just, business as usual. Let's go and chop our own part of that national cake or eat all that soup and leave nothing for the rest of the people. The leader must articulate clear, long-term vision centered in equity, sustainability, and human development. Transformational leaders inspire institutions and to adapt to inclusive values. That's what you do. You're not there to stand for yourself. You're there to be able to transform, to inspire, to motivate, to get people to go above themselves, to be able to call to a higher power and be able to save the nation or wherever it is, or it's from there. 2, policy and institutional reforms. Effective leaders champion 1, inclusive economic policies. 2, social welfare reforms, anti-discrimination laws, investment in education, health, and digital access. All these policies ensure that vulnerable populations gain capabilities to participate in economic life. If we have all this in place, we should be able to get everybody to be able to partake in part and parcel of all that needs to be done. C, you have participatory governance. That is, inclusive leadership promotes participation by minority groups, women and youth, and local communities. This strengthens accountability and ensures policies reflect real economic needs economic needs. Then you have ethical and transparent governance. Whether we like it or not, corruption hinders inclusivity. Corruption is one of the most dangerous things we have. It hinders inclusivity. Ethical leadership ensures fair resource distribution, credible institutions, and trust between citizens and government. That is inclusive development. Now we talk about nation branding. What is nation branding? Simply put, nation branding is how a country shapes and communicates its identity to global audience. To global audiences, investors, tourist partners, and its own diaspora. What are we saying about ourselves to our people that have gone out there, the brain-drained people that have gone out there to look for a better health? What do we say to investors that want to come in here? How are we shaping what we think and say? And how does it reflect to our global audiences? So, inclusive development matters for nation branding. If we link the two together, inclusive developments matter for nation branding because, 1, it improves global reputation. Countries that are equitable, stable, and just attract positive global attention. 2, you have more investment and tourism. Investors prefer nations with social stability, skilled and empowered populations, transparent systems. I remember when I had to go to Lake Victoria for some conference. I turned up at the embassy and you could see jam-packed. I mean, more than everybody here waiting to go through immigration. I was the only black person there. When we went on the Lake Victoria itself, I think I could just see myself and somebody else. And yet, the village itself, nothing. I went to Malawi, and where we were, I said, one of our local governments is even bigger and everything than this. There are places you go to, you ask yourself, I wish Nigerians could pull themselves to come and see how great this country is. I wish they could come out It's like we're so drowning in despair and thinking that we're nothing, that we don't appreciate how great Nigeria is. And like somebody else said, we're great people. And it is that spirit, it is that Nigerian spirit. Even if you see a child that was born from how many generations that never stepped here, it is a spirit that is like a DNA that comes out where we excel at whatever we do. There is a need to rise above, to be there, whatever. And I do agree with the chairman that said, I mean, everybody that has spoke today, including the president of the president himself of the institute, that we will see greatness. There has to be a turning point at which we rise up and say, hey, it's enough. We cannot be drowning in despair like this when we can achieve so much. Why don't we look up and see? I don't know if you followed the Twitter argument on X, a few days ago, where they showed where all the boats were coming from. Half of it were Nigeria, India, Bangladesh, and where most of Nigeria. They were able to influence Americans against themselves, using racist arguments, using all kinds of things that they used, and influenced them. And these people woke up, like one of them said, are you saying that it is these people from shithole countries that have been poor third world countries that have been telling us how to think and hate people from shithole countries from coming to America? They could not believe it. What of those that had all those fine babes they were looking at, beautiful girls that they were following, that they found out that they were some Nigerian man in Benin or Ikorodu or somewhere that was posting all kinds of things. How did they find the words? What kind of brain did you have to be able to understand how these people think, be able to put it into words, and be posting social media posts, sometimes how many times a day? Enough to influence a whole country to turn against all manners of people, only for them to wake up and find out that they were not following fellow Americans, they were actually following Nigerians. And that this was at the same time, this thing came up at the same time as, I think the same day or two, when they were talking about invading Nigeria, and Nigeria was in their consciousness that we're going to invade the House, the Congress was deliberating. Next thing they know, we had a hidden side where we were doing all those things. So we have it. It's a case of how do we harness it? How do we put all these things together? How do we program our thinking to use that same ability, that brain that works so sharply, to use it in doing positive things and bring them? You see, little things. You think about architecture. You know, all those Western worlds, you can't touch some of the buildings. So you can't even come up with new architecture anywhere. Because some of them are buildings that are preserved. You can't touch it. But look at Africa, with all the space and everything that it has. Anybody, when it comes to when we make it, and we will make it, when Africa rises to where it's going to be, when you see architects, when you see people come up with ideas, you will not believe what is happening. We are a continent waiting to open up. And what is stopping us? Basically, what is stopping us for now is leadership. Leadership, we're talking of leadership, not just the leadership for inclusive development and nation building. Another thing, quite apart from all that, we have, of course, if you have the proper leadership and whatever, you have, it also involves soft power and diplomacy, diplomatic influence. We're able to influence, if you have nations known for social justice and inclusive policies, gain moral authority. You are able to speak. Look at what we did for South Africa. I went to University of Ife. We were there with all the South Africans. If you remember, all of you are young, but the ones of what generation? You remember Sonny Okosun and his, what's that, his song? You know, that we all did, what Nigeria went through for apartheid, for South Africa. I mean, we put everything in there. Nobody even wants to even remember that. But that is what we had. that moral authority to be able to say, no, you can't do this. And the world listened and changes came. So you also have that if you have both of them, we're talking of inclusive development and national building. Sorry. No, I'm fine. You also attract talent and skilled, you retain the youth. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Justice. You have 5 minutes more,
Okay,
ma'am.
all right. You know, okay, so. Okay. All right. I will just jump. Basically, let me jump to say that, say that leaders, we have transformational leaders, they connect inclusive development to nation branding. First of all, promoting success stories. Leaders highlight one, poverty reduction programs, gender equality achievements, innovative ecosystems, green and sustainable developments. These narratives shape the nation's international image. Also, you have building national identity ground around inclusivity. Nation branding can emphasize poverty, diversity, social harmony, cultural richness, democratic values. Leaders curate unified national stories that resonate globally. I'll go straight to what I want to talk about, NPR, and where do we come in when I talked about the issue of how do we make a better cake and everything. You are an institute, very powerful institute from what I can gather. I was telling the senator before he left, I said, I'm going to tell all of you, I have never heard anybody who is a lawyer say another profession is bothered because we think we're the greatest. I say he's the first person. I told him before he left, I said, I'm going to tell all of you, he's the first person in my life that would come and boast about public relations being and law is just an addition. No. We don't think like that. The law, they said, is a very jealous mistress. We think we're the greatest, but that is what he said. So obviously, that you all of you have that greatness and all. I had to ask myself, what do they even do? What is... Yeah, all of you know it's your business. Me, I'm in a different profession altogether. What is public relations? You give me just because I just want to rope this in. What is public relations? For those of you here like me who don't know, PR, public relations, is the strategic practice of managing how an individual, organization, or brand is perceived by the public. The goal is to build trust. I heard one of the young people during the fireside chat, in fact, the moderator, sorry, President, you missed the young people's chat. The moderator was talking about trust, that you have to have trust. So the goal is to build trust, shape reputation, and maintain strong relationship with key audiences. So public relations involves one, reputation management, media relations, that is the reputation management is that ensuring that the public sees the individual organization in a positive light. Media relations, working with different people, positive coverage, crisis management, all kinds of things that you all know. You have stakeholder engagement. Now, public relations is important because, first of all, it builds credibility. It increases public trust. It helps maintain a positive brand image. It supports business growth and protects the brand during crisis situation. In this situation when we talk about, and the senator did say so, what Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for yourself. You say you are a great institute. It's not just you. There are many, many, many institutes. What is it that the institute, at this point in time where I said we are drowning in God knows what. Everybody has to rise. It's not just government. It's not, before you have a transformational leadership, yes, their role will be to listen, to act on it. But what can we all do? Not just individuals, but organizations like NIPR can to come together. This is our specialty. This is what we do. How do we come up with policies, advice, suggestions that can appeal to how the rest of the world sees us, that can appeal to how Nigerians themselves see themselves? How? What do you do? This is what we can do as an institute. Let's set up a task force. You're setting up a university, as the president said. If you can go as far as setting up a university and all that, it's enough to say we have a think tank that would do. It's one thing to come up with it. It's another thing to say the government didn't listen. At that point in time, if all of us, each and every one of us, each and every institute of whatever, are able to come up with something to say, hey, we need to rise up. It's time to change the narrative. We are we are giants, but we are walking around like dwarfs. It's time to stand, when they say, to our full height. What can make us rise to our full height? This is what the Institute can prefer. In this regard, we would say that, talking about this topic, that NIPR has a very important role to play. Yeah, first of all, you can have a documentary showcasing Nigeria's contributions to all that, like I mentioned, South Africa and others. We have a lot of things to do. But such a strategy, let me just quote this and I end up there, should include showcasing Nigeria's cultural assets: music, cuisine, fashion, literature, and film. I was in Papua New Guinea a few years ago, Papua New Guinea. They have 800 tribes, more than 800 tribes. Their sorcery and witchcraft and juju, it makes Nigeria's own child's play. There are laws, everything based on that. Their juju thing is incredible. Then I sat with them, and these Papua New Guinea people were telling me their favorite actors, Nollywood, calling their names, this one. And me, I had never heard it. I've not even heard half of them. But watching Nollywood movies, that, hey, some of you say, no, we shouldn't be using all those old traditional witchcraft things. But that's what resonated with them. Papua New Guinea, we are following, they have Nollywood stars. I went to Kenya, and I met somebody telling me that we want to speak with Nigerian accent. We have to speak with Nigerian. Why will you want to speak with the Nigerian accent? But that's what they want to do. Then I belong to one of these. We are just 11 justices. Well, I belonged until I retired. 11 justices for Africa, like I said, like a think tank thing. So 11 of us. I represented West Africa. But there was one guy, Portuguese speaking, from Mozambique. And one day at a meeting, he starts to tell me, his English is not too good, but he starts to tell me all his favorite actors in Nigeria, in Nollywood movies. I couldn't believe it. But that we have it. We are, in that regard, you say, hey, we have that in terms of entertainment, in terms of all that. We're able to, so if we're able to maximize on that, for now we're not seeing anything of all those. I mean, we take it for nothing, but it's a part of us. We have, when you talk about nations, you have your Paris that has, The Hague is the judicial capital of this world. All the international courts are there. All the centers for arbitration, they're there. You go to, we go to London, is the financial capital of the world. Paris is enjoyment galore in everything to do with beauty or fashion or eating or romance, everything. You have Paris. Nigeria, we have different things. We can adapt to all kinds of things. We can come up with all kinds of things. So the Institute, quite apart from showcasing that, they can also sponsor Nigerian musicians and Nollywood stars to countries where our creative industries enjoy a massive following. There's so much that we can do to expand on that. But for now, they probably don't even know how much they're acting ways across the nation. Then the Institute could also host cultural exhibitions, featuring iconic Nigerian cuisines, such as, I remember the jollof rice issue, who cooks better, Ghana or Nigeria or Sierra Leone. There is so much that we can do. Then you have authors, Nigerian authors that are doing very well. You have all kinds of things that you can come up with. But for now, honestly, like I said, it's one thing to have transformational government. It's another thing to say, what are we even doing to help? Government can't do everything, but let's do our own bit. Let it be that government didn't listen. But they themselves, there is a turning point at which the leaders themselves know, if you don't want to end in the belly of the tiger, you better just make sure that you're not around where the tiger will be able to open his mouth and bite you on. So we will get to that point where all of us, collectively, individually, will have to put in all that we have, all that we can. If it's a pot of soup, if I can bring one little baggie to add inside, may it be that I have added something. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry for overstaying.
Honorable Justice, please give her another round of applause. Thank you, ma. Thank you. Honorable Justice, ma, I can tell, ma, that you are in love with our profession. I can tell. Mr. President, sir, since the registrar is here, she can get a form immediately. What do we say? Aye or nay? Should the Honorable Justice get the form? Should SK Usman pay for the form?
Yeah.
The ayes have it. General, you have to pay. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Jeme, who wouldn't like PR? PR is life itself.
Without
PR, so many things won't work the way we want them to work.
That's right. That's right.
So on behalf of all the women, we say thank you to the keynote speaker. We are proud of you. All the women in this hall are proud of you, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. President wants to respond.
Sorry. There was a question. There was something that her lordship said, which I thought I should give a background so that she understands. You know, when Senator Izunaso spoke, and then when you now came, you elaborated on it, just for you to understand why it's like that, ma. Everything about medicine and medical practice ends here, because in heaven, nobody is sick. Everything about engineering ends on earth, because in heaven there is no construction going on. The same way, law ends here, because there are no adjudications in heaven. Public relations is practiced on earth and in heaven. That's the only profession. Because in heaven you will be singing, you will be dancing, you will be relating, you will be talking, you will be joyful. And those are the functions of public relations. So every other profession ends on earth. Public relations is an eternal profession. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. We'll very quickly, shortly we'll be inviting the panelists, but just before then, let me quickly recognize here with us representative of the First Lady of Imo State, Mrs. Adora Iwayawo. She's here with us. Thank you very much for being here. Representative of the First Lady, thank you. We also recognize former Commissioner and Commissioner Secretary at Taraba State, wife of the former Chief Justice of the Federation, Mrs. Saadatu Adoke Bello. She's here with us. Thank you very much. She's a sister to the chairman of the 35th anniversary. She's also here with Hajia Aminu Bayero. Hajia Aminu Bayero, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. We appreciate you. Please give them a round of applause.
Also with us, ladies and gentlemen, is Hajia Binta Adamo Bello, OON, the Director General, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. A round of applause for her, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
And with that, we're set for the panel discussion. It will be very brief. But again, Honorable Justice, to moderate this panel discussion is a lawyer who is a member of the NIPR. And I'm intentionally calling him first because he's a popular lawyer, you know. He is also a human rights activist. He's also official legal analyst for Arise Television, but he's a public relations practitioner. Welcome, Frank T.T. Esquire, lawyer and executive director of CSAC. Please a round of applause for him. He takes the center stage.
To join him on the podium, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ifeanyi Hart, Sam Ifeanyi Hart, MNI, the Chief of Staff to the Honorable Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives. Thank you very much.
And also coming on is another very distinguished member and a great friend of the NIPR family, Mr. Mike Omeri, former Director General of the NOA. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you very much. And lastly, I would like to invite our keynote speaker to please come back on the podium and join the panel. Thank you very much. A round of applause for her again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Frank Tietie, your time starts now.
Thank you, Dr. Jimmy. Well, in Nigeria, we have
20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay. We have the Order of Precedence Act. I never knew how much we have implemented it, but Mr. President, and I will go quickly to your Lordship and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the panel discussion. First, we thank your Lordship for this very inspiring paper. I would like to start with Dr. Mike Omeri. At a time in this country, you were an embodiment of national orientation. Quickly, what would make a group feel excluded in Nigeria, in your own consideration?
Thank you very much. In Nigeria, when a group feels or is made to feel excluded, is when leadership decides to follow undefined factors that make a country a nation. At the end of the day, what do we have? We have various communities coming to call themselves nations within nation. You have the Igbo nation, the Yoruba nation, the Alago nation, that is my tribe. We are also a nation. But in reality, we are supposed to have one nation. But when you have a leader who comes and prefers to deal with a section to the utter negligence of the other, you know that agitations will arise and you begin to feel excluded, and the next thing is you become a nation within one nation.
And how do we address that? You were in national orientation. How do you change that mindset? Because we're talking about branding here. And our Lordship has given us the benefits of being well-branded to the rest of the world, to diaspora, and to ourselves. So how do we address that? Very quickly, Dr. Mike.
Thank you. Nigeria is diverse. Other countries look for diverse populations to make themselves look good. We already have it. We should take advantage of what we have. Celebrate by promoting the uniqueness of Nigeria in the stories that we tell about ourselves and about our country. Our movie industry, like the keynote speaker had said, has a serious role to play. The NIPR itself also has a role to play, and believe me, if the NIPR had not taken the leadership position in this reputation management or branding, we would still have been, we wouldn't be here today. And essentially, country bashing must stop. We keep insulting Nigeria. We give it all the negative names within and outside the country. We have very bad people all over the place. But in Nigeria, we have very few, but they move very fast. They are all over the place. So what should we do is to keep communicating positively in all spaces about our country.
Thank you. Your Lordship, we are very grateful that you found time to give that resounding paper. In 2022, Your Lordship, the Federal High Court gave a judgment based on a policy direction, affirming the 35% affirmative principle and ordering the Nigerian government to implement that principle in all sectors, particularly starting from the National Assembly. Your Lordship, you stood out most clearly in the policy court, the highest policy court of the country. How is it possible, Your Lordship, that a decision based on a decision of the Federal High Court based on policy, without any constitutional amendment or statutory provision, how is it possible to be implemented in this need for inclusivity as we brand our country as we speak? Your Lordship, thank you for the indulgence.
You want to ambush me? If I remember, I came up at the Supreme Court and we had a 7-man panel that dealt with the issue. When it came to...
yes, Your Lordship. Okay, yes, Your Lordship.
Yes, where it built on the bottom, whether the states could get their money and all that, and it went this other way, contrary to where. But the matter had reached the Supreme Court, at least that some aspect of it.
As Your Lordship pleases.
And I don't want to now be heard to be, I retired 2 years ago, so don't throw me back into any controversy.
As Your Lordship, Your Lordship, you know, it's, we're troubled that the question was actually, and again, I must thank Your Lordship for this opportunity. That question was actually framed for the honorable member that was supposed to represent women. And indeed, there is no other better woman to be here.
No, okay, Your Lordship. She was the one to have handled it, talking about how the law, they should have amended the law accordingly.
As Your Lordship
even at that point in time,
thank you very much,
the court had to go into the, if you remember, had to go into the preamble,
yes,
had to go into the, what's that?